let's talk a little bit about borders here on the quilt that Linda is making for Maxine's grandson who loves to play the guitar. Linda loves to make quilts. Maxine said, I want something for my grandson. Linda found this fabulous fabric and off they went. Linda did the creating and Maxine did the pressing job, which is wonderful because pressing can be a big part of the journey. So let's go ahead and talk about borders. Linda has been notoriously excellent in making borders. And what I want to show you here is when you're connecting your borders or your sashing, I would always suggest that you do it on the diagonal. Even though this is really just like a straight piece of fabric, even right here, this is literally a straight piece of black fabric, and she's connected it at the diagonal. Why is that? Your eye will move much more smoothly over that situation when it's connected at the diagonal than if you cut it at a big old straight across like this. It does take a little tiny bit more fabric. You're going to connect your pieces at the perpendicular to each other to create that diagonal connection right there, and it will create a much more smooth line on your sashing and on your borders. Now, there is one caveat to that. That is when you have an extremely linear design on your border. If you have something that is very geometric, that would be a time to consider cutting it at the straight on. In that case, your eye will move more smoothly over it because it is cut on the straight on. I don't get a lot of those, but when I do, I like to make a big deal about it because that's the opportunity to be able to see, oh, that would work out really well with one that has a straight on connection for a border. In this case, again, I would suggest that you do it at the diagonal. Linda's done an excellent job of that. When you're doing your borders, the other thing you want to remember is in order to have a nice, straight, neat border coming off on all edges of your quilt, you're going to measure, like on the inside, the inner, the center sections of the quilt, someplace in here, like 3 times into 3 different areas. Add those together, divide by 3, cut your border first. You're going to cut your border first, and then you're going to pin it on and stitch it. And I suggest stitching it with the quilt side down against the feed dogs on your machine because the feed dogs will feed through the weight of the quilt much better, holding the weight of that versus the weight of the border, which is much less. So in this case, I would suggest doing it with the fabric, with the quilt side down on the feed dogs. Hope that makes a little bit of sense. If you're confused, go ahead and put something in the comments. I apologize for that, but I think it's gone okay for you. So I just want you to realize that's a great way to be able to create your borders and make sure they are neat and straight. And I always want to encourage people to do amazing quilts. Come on over. It doesn't matter what your quilt is like. We're going to work it out. It's going to be fabulous. We're going to accomplish something amazing together here at the quilting studio. Bring a quilt over and let's have a great day.